bad girl, bad dog, bad wolf, right? Wrong. It's important that you enjoy yourself. There is a story whispered across deserts and mountains. It's about an old woman everyone knows in their soul, but few have ever seen. She's strange, she's wild, she's hairy, sometimes she crows, sometimes she cackles. She always seems to want to evade company. But if you find her, you will never forget her. She goes by many names. The Bone Woman, the Gatherer, La Loba, I hope I pronounced that correctly, or the Wild Woman. La Loba has one task and one task only, to collect bones. A cave is filled with bones of different creatures, deers, snakes, crows, but one specific type of bone is our favorite, the bones of wolves. She crawls through dry riverbeds, through mountains, searching, gathering, and assembling bones. And when she has assembled bones and the full structure of the wolf is formed in front of her, she begins to sing. At first, it's just bones. Then she sings further. Muscles cover the bones. And then a song rises. Fur covers the flesh. Tails grow and coils strong. Then she sings louder and the wolf breathes. Then she sinks deeper and the desert itself shakes. Then the wolf opens its eyes, leaps up, and runs into the horizon. If you watch it as it runs, somewhere along its running, you might see that the wolf becomes a woman, a singing, laughing woman, free and alive. So remember this, if you ever find yourself lost or tired or wandering at sundown, you might be lucky. You might come across the wolf woman, and if she takes a liking to you, she might show you something of the soul. Ancient thinkers believe that we hear on three levels. First is the everyday noise, the gossip, the what do I like about kind of noise. The second kind of hearing is the one that we give towards learning and heart. The one you listen to music with, you hear the rhythm, you listen to your teacher speak, you pick lessons from what your teacher is saying. And the third is the deepest level, the soul's hearing. This chapter demands that we hear with that third level of listening, to hear not just the words, but the meaning of the words. So if by chance you had listened to the earlier story with your first level of hearing or your second level of hearing, I suggest you go back and listen to it with your third and deepest level of hearing. I'll wait for you, don't worry. Well, now that you're back, here's the thing. Sometimes we overthink, we overanalyze things, and in the process, we lose touch with our instincts. This book is saying, don't stand outside of the story like a critic. You need to step into the story in order to understand it. This is how you will be able to connect to the wild woman via the stories. You need to step into the stories if they will be of any use to you at all. Now, Laloba shows us what to look for. The bones. What do the bones in Lalaba story mean? The bone doesn't translate to literal bones, of course. It is the indestructible part of our self, the wild self. Inside every woman is the old woman that gathers bones. What does that mean? It means that you already have the ability to revive yourself, to put yourself together. The bones are your truth. The bones is the wild self, the self that must have the freedom to move, to act, to create, to be angry, to speak. Think of the bones as part of yourself that you've lost. Maybe you've lost confidence after rejection. Maybe you've lost your creativity after being told that you are not good enough or whatever you produced was not good enough. Or maybe you've lost your joy after handling too many responsibilities. We all start scattered along around the desert. The work is to gather those pieces of yourself together and then sing over them. What does singing means? It means speaking the truth from your soul. It means identifying and saying out loud what you need. This is a work that you're going to do by yourself. Nobody can do that for you. This is the foundation. You need to be honest and sincere with yourself. What have you lost? This would probably require you to sit down, pick up a journal, write about it, speak it out loud. What do you need? What did you lost? What do you need to recover? I know you were thinking that Clarissa in this book was going to hand you the answer. If she hands you an answer, she's not giving you your answer. Because again, like we already established, you are uniquely you. There's no one way to be. There's no one right way to be. And this is why this work of singing over your bones is your work and your work alone. Now let's talk about Laloba. Laloba isn't just another archetype like the mother or the trickster. If you're familiar with tarot cards, She's different. She's the root. She's the feeder system of instinct itself. The book calls her the one who knows. And when we were talking about Laloba's place, remember we described it earlier in the story, we were not talking about a physical location. It's talking about that inner space that every woman has. You are familiar with it, you just don't know it's that place. It's that place that you feel when you're praying and you really pray and then you feel something. Yes, you've entered that place. That is Laloba's place. It's that place that you go to when you are creating something and you lose track of time. Maybe you were skating or you were singing or you were writing or you were creating music. That place, that is Laloba's place. And what was Laloba doing when she entered that place? She was arranging the bones she gathered and singing over them. Remember earlier I said the work is yours. So we are breaking down how that work will be done. Laloba's place is where inspiration and healing takes place. If you're good at mathematics, you'd realize that when the book is telling you to step into Laloba's place and sing and do the healing work, and they're telling you Laloba's place is that place that you enter when you're doing some creative work and you forget yourself, when you pray deeply, when you dance and forget yourself. If you do the maths, what is that telling you? To heal yourself, you need to step into the act of doing, the act of creating, the act of being. So you can see how this is a work that you have to do by yourself. Now, this chapter put in a little bit of caution for us, especially when you're entering Laloba's place. This chapter wants that balance is everything. Do not go in with too much awe or too much cynicism. Jung wants that some people over romanticize the experience, some people undervalue it, and some aren't just ready and they get hurt. But the ones who benefit from this experience are those ones who understand the responsibility. Jung calls that responsibility moral obligation. This means that if you've touched your wild self, whether it be through a dream, through a prayer, through the act of doing, through creativity, you cannot just keep it inside. You have to leave it out. So essentially, it's not just something you experience and you're like, yeah, that's it. It has to show in your choices. It has to show in your relationships. It has to show in your work. A very good example, say you are now in tune with yourself. You now know that there are some things you need to say no to. It's not enough that you know. You need to start living it out. You get that? But when you get this conviction, it's important that you don't undervalue it like people that go to school, but you'd never know they went to school. And it's important that you don't overvalue it like people will get an insight for themselves and then they begin to impose it on others. Sometime when I was younger, I went to a conference. It's like a Christian conference. And there's this person. It was much later when I was going and I realized that that is something that shouldn't have been imposed on others. This person came and then started vilifying wristwatches. Apparently, God told him to not use wristwatches. So he just jumped to the conclusion that if God can tell him to not use wristwatches, that means wristwatches are evil, and then everybody else shouldn't use it. As long as you call yourself a Christian, you shouldn't use wristwatches, precisely because God told him not to use wristwatches. So that is you overvaluing an insight that you received for yourself. It is important that you do not do that. And do not get hurt by taking what is abstract literally and by taking what is literal and thinking it's abstract. You understand? The lesson here is simple. Don't chase the experience just for experience sake. You need to let it change you. That is how you honor Laloba's place. Whether you fancy yourself a gray wolf, a black wolf, a red wolf, the point is you are wild at your core. And yes, when you begin to embody that wild self, when you begin to embody that your authentic self, some people will begin to draw away from you, whether out of fear or out of disgust. It is important that you let these people go. The right people would appreciate this aspect of yourself. The right friend, the right lover, the right community would appreciate this aspect of yourself. Some people will not like it if you put your nose at everything or sniff at everything. Oh, for heaven's sake, no lying on your back with your feet up in the sky. Bad girl, bad dog, bad wolf, right? Wrong. It's important that you enjoy yourself. This is the work of gathering bones. This is why we meditate. This is why we make art. This is why we analyze dreams. All of it is about finding our soul voice again. Remember earlier when I told you that this work is yours and yours alone. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can hand you the answer. I told you that it would require you to go inside of yourself and identify what part of yourself is lost. Identify what part of yourself is dead. To identify these parts, you're going to need to be able to ask the right questions. Questions we ask ourselves matter. What happened to my soul voice? What bones of my life are buried? When was the last time I felt free? How do I make my life come alive again. As we pour our yearnings and our heartbreaks over the bones of who we used to be when we were young, what we used to know from centuries past, and the knowing of the future, as we pour soul, we are revived. We are in the becoming stage of transformation. Like dry bones, we so often start out in the desert. Many of us have lived the desert lives. We probably ended up in the desert, whether from past cruelties, from traumatic events, from the way we were raised. Some of us were raised to not have that large life. And when I say large life, I don't mean financially. Some of us were raised to be small. Some of us were raised to be silent. Some of us were raised in such a way that we shrink ourselves. Loba shows us the precious things that can come from such a life. And so often when a woman feels or knows that she has lived that desert life, she only sees that small cactus, that small flower, and then 500 miles of nothing. And then she's she's tempted to walk that 500 miles, seeing nothing, and she's tempted to go back. But for that one woman who would walk one more miles, who would walk 501 miles, there is a small house waiting for you. There is a safe house waiting for you. There is somebody waiting for you inside that house. Don't go back because you've walked 500 miles and you've seen nothing. Walk a straight line and walk one more mile. There is more. There is always more. Knock on that door. Climb that window. Climb that mountain. Sift the desert and see what you find. It's the only work that we have to do. It's the only work that we have. Nobody will do that work for you. You have to do it. Don't be a lazy ass. Walk that one more mile. It's hard, I know, but it's going to be worth it. The part of you that is going to be revived is so going to be worth it. I know you wish for some psychoanalytic advice. The only advice that exists is go gather bones. And gathering bones can differ for everybody. For some people, it's sitting with themselves. For some people, it's starting on writing that book. For some people, it's start something. Make that bad heart. Start that writing. Journal. Sit with yourself. Meditate. Enter solitude if you have to. Go gather bones. We've gathered bones today, but gathering bones is not enough. In the next episode, you are going to see the next thing to do after we've gathered bones and sing over it. Do not forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you can know when the next episode drops. In the next episode, we are addressing the next chapter of Women Who Run with the Wolves. Ciao.